All right, everyone, welcome to the November edition of Shutter Magazine, and we have got tons of questions and answers this month. So thanks for your questions. Let's dive right into this. First question comes to us from Matt. To separate brands or not when you do things like boudoir, seniors, family, hashtag asking for a friend. It's not really for you, Matt. Yes, I like to separate the brands a little bit. So early on in my career, we used to have a separate website for like seniors, families, babies, and we had this landing page, and then you would click on an icon to take you to a different site for each. What's happened over the years, though, is with search engine optimization, that strategy or site structure doesn't really work anymore. Instead, here's what I suggest you do. This is what we have done, is pick your focus area. So for us, it's always surprising. People look at our business and they're like, oh, I didn't know you did families. Oh, I didn't know you did boudoir. Oh, I didn't know you did this. Yeah, I do it, but the reality is 90% of my income is coming from weddings and high school seniors. Sure, I'm gonna make money in all these other niches, but that's really where the money's coming from. So figure out where your focus area is, and that's what should be predominantly on your site, because you're gonna wanna search engine optimize your site as well. It's very difficult to optimize it for multiple genres, if you will. So maybe you buy different domains for each, but for me, in my case, my business name is Salvatore Cincotta Photography, so it's not like, we've got like, Wonderlist Boudoir, where I could buy that domain name. If you do have something like that and you're building your brand, of course, that's an option for you. But for us, that's not how we've built our brand. Our brand, in the branding edition, is perfect to talk about this. I am the brand. And so what we've done is we've picked two focus areas, weddings and high school seniors, and that's where we go after it. So hopefully that makes sense. Next question comes to us from Ann. What is the best practice for using social media marketing as it applies to getting your brand known? That's a really good question. When it comes to social media, and you're new in the market and you just want people to like your page or things along those lines, spending money on social media marketing can be really just burning money at that point. Instead, what I would suggest you do when you're first starting out and you want to get your brand out there is work with like local charities, local churches, local dog shelters, local toy stores, local businesses. And this is a really good way to get your name out there and get started. Don't spend a whole lot of money. And then, of course, everything goes out on the social media, tag your friends and things like that. But in order to just create buzz, I wouldn't just start throwing money at social media. I think that'll be a waste for you. You want to start building your user base first. So start working like local networks in your local area. That'll help you from there start building a following, and then you can start marketing to that following via social media. Next question comes to us from Larry. Very similar to Matt's question. Should we combine headshots, wedding, senior, event photography into one web page, or should we have, say, a senior and headshots page redirect to a different website? Keep in mind, you want to search engine optimize your site. If you go out to and Google St. Louis wedding photographer, we're coming back number one, I think, in the map section, and then we're coming back number 3 on page 1 in that area. And that's because our site is focused on St. Louis wedding photography. That is my big money generator. Now, do we do seniors? Yes. Is my site optimized for seniors? No. Instead, I go different route from marketing to seniors. We're doing direct mail and things along those lines. So my site is truly optimized for weddings. That's my big cash earner. If you're going to focus on headshots, nothing wrong with that, then optimize your site on whatever your focus area is, Larry. So hopefully that makes sense as well. Next question comes to us from Christopher. What do you have to think about when translating your brand into a logo? How much effort and weight needs to be put into developing a traditional logo? That's an interesting question. I don't know why you would develop a traditional logo. I'm assuming maybe you're talking about like a mark or an icon or something along those lines. Or maybe just the feel of a brand. Sorry, I'm interpreting a little bit here. When I think about what effort goes into your brand, into the actual logo, it really comes down to what are you trying to accomplish with your brand? Do you want your brand to be whimsical? Do you want it to be fun, playful? Do you want it to be a little bit more corporate? Do you want it to be a little bit more artsy? Who are you appealing to? Are you appealing to females? Are you appealing to males? Are you appealing to teens? You have to ask yourself these questions to get down to what your logo should or should not be. And when you talk about how much effort should go into it, a lot. Your brand means everything. That's the first thing that outside world is seeing, whether it's on your website, on your jacket, or anything along those lines. So spend the time and energy to get your brand right. Pay someone to do it. It's well worth the investment. A logo, we work with Justin over at visuallore.com, and we work with him, and I sit with him and I say, hey, here's my thought, here's who I'm going after, here's who my target is. and here's some samples maybe like from the real world that I would like to incorporate into my logo. And then he goes off and does his thing, right? It's just like us thinking everyone's a photographer. Well, photographers seem to think, well, I got Illustrator, everybody's a designer. You're not a designer, you're not a logo specialist, let somebody else do it. Next question comes to us from CJ. If targeting a new city, is it better to have separate domain sites specifically for that city, or is it better to have separate page within your main site? CJ, something new we're starting to do here is we're working with Nate over at Sticky Albums. He just launched a product called Sticky Folio. So check it out, stickyfolio.com. And what this is basically quick landing pages that you can create on your domain that are just dedicated to whatever city you're going after. So for us, we're going after Chicago, New York, and we're starting to create these landing pages that are specific to those areas versus trying to buy a brand new domain name. The salcincotta.com and the Salvatore Cincotta brand name has a lot of equity in it. We don't want to lose that, right? It's like Coca-Cola. When Coca-Cola, they're maintaining that main brand, right? And they went with New Coke, working it in there. So you want to maintain, think of your brand as like the Coca-Cola, and anything else as a sub-brand. Don't start trying to create new names. Make sure you maintain the brand identity of that main brand. Don't lose the main brand in all this. All right? We don't want a new Coke. Next question comes from Chris. When is it time to separate to a second brand? The time to separate into a second brand is when you want to grow your business. So if I look at the pros and cons of the way we have our company set up, Salvatore Cincotta Photography, I am the brand. I am the main photographer. When people come in here, they're expecting to work with me directly, and if they're not, it's almost like a bait and switch. But if my brand name was Studio C, right? C for Cincotta. If my brand name was Studio C, people would look at that and be like, all right, I guess we're going to have other photographers there. Now that they're not expecting to work with me directly. So I would say in the world of photography, that's when I would consider separating, creating a new brand when you want to scale and grow your business and start bringing in other shooters underneath you. Next question comes to us from Tanya. How to get clients more excited about my brand and create organic shout outs on social media. Tanya, that is a great, I don't know, like just epiphany, right, for you to understand that happens. When you look at our clients, and you could look at some of our pages now, they are giddy, they love going out there, they love tagging us in it, they love promoting that they came here. The way that happens has to be organically, and that's by building a luxury brand. The minute you build that luxury brand, people are excited about working with you and they're excited about those results, and you don't even have to ask them to give you shout outs. They want to give you that shout out. We had a bride at a wedding a couple of weeks ago. She stood up, grabbed the microphone, and was like, I want everybody to give a round of applause to our incredible photographers, Sal Cincotta, blah, blah, blah. And it gave me chills when they did that because, of course, I don't want that type of attention in that moment. It's her wedding. But she felt compelled because she was so excited to be working with us, so excited about what she was seeing happening during her day, that she wanted to get up there and do it. And there is no more powerful marketing message than something like that happening. So I know why you're going after it. So like I said, it's this kind of epiphany, this aha moment for you. The question is, how do you get there? And you've just got to let it happen organically. And that's through a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of taking your brand to that next level. Sorry about the truck going by. Next one comes to us from Laura. How not to ruin your luxury brand by starting a second brand to service that mid-market. And I'm with Matt, I'm asking for a friend. So you have to be very careful when you start that secondary brand that it does not kind of deteriorate, if you will, the main brand. Cannot tarnish that main brand. And the way you have to do it is there has to be this separation of church and state. You have to separate the main brand and that secondary brand as best you can, because what you want to do is capitalize on the fact that you know the market. You know what you're doing because you've established your main brand. So take that knowledge, take that experience, and then start building that secondary brand. Maybe bring in a face to that secondary brand. But if you're the face of that secondary brand and you're the face of the main brand, this is when there can be a little bit of confusion in the marketplace. So be very, very careful with that. I can tell you we have tried multiple times and failed multiple times at building a secondary brand. We have just found in the marketplace that people want the main brand, the main photographer, and it's just, we stopped. It's just not worth it. So what we've done is invested heavily in making the main brand the best it could possibly be, and we're seeing bigger profits because of that. Next question comes to us from Amber. Advice on how to get back on track with your business after a personal loss. Amber, I have no idea what that personal loss was. Doesn't matter. There's things that are going to happen in your life from time to time. I can speak, personally, having gone through something on my side, and it gets you away from what you should be focused on. And what you've got to do, at least what I did, was I found a way to immerse myself in my work, immerse myself in my passion. This is what we do as photographers. We love what we do. We have the most incredible opportunity ahead of us every day. We've got to embrace that opportunity instead of resisting that opportunity. And that was, for me, how I got my head back in the game. It took me about six plus months, right? So I'm not going to lie and tell you it's easy. But what you have to do is, truly, as cliche as it sounds, get back on that horse and focus on the things you love and focus on the things that got you into the world of photography to begin with, and let that come out in your creativity. I think it'll be therapeutic for you, if nothing else. Last question comes to us from Andrea. I'm a landscape and nature photographer. Is it a good thing to have your name or logo on your prints and canvases, or should you leave it off of your physical products but use it online as a watermark or a way to identify yourself in a vast sea of digital images? Andrea, for me, we have our logo on all digital files that are online. You have to. People are going to steal them. In fact, I just had a photographer in London think it was okay to steal my images, even with my logo on them. It's just perplexing to me how they saw that working, but regardless. So anything out there digitally, my name is on it as best it can be. I don't want to be obnoxious and put it on a diagonal. But when it comes to prints, if I'm doing something that is fine art, meaning fine art paper, matted, framed, I will sign that print, not print a digital logo on it. But if it's just prints for like a family portrait or something like that, printed on a canvas, we have our logo on the top of the canvas, right? The part that wraps around, our logo's up top. I want that there, just 20 years from now, they look at it and they want to know who took that image. We can look at that and they can say, oh, that was Salvatore Cincotta. But other than that, we're not signing any of that stuff. Our logo's not on it. Look, we created this amazing portrait for them. They paid us good money to create this portrait. The last thing they need is my name on that print. But like I said, if it's fine art, that's where I'll sign it. And if clients ask me to, I'll sign it as well. I always look at that as very honorable, or I'm honored that they've asked me to do something like that. So great questions this month. Keep learning, keep growing, guys. Be on the lookout for next month's issue. If you got questions, Q&A, we're here for you. Check out shuttermagazine.com. It is, or behindtheshutter.com. Shutter Magazine is the largest professional photography resource out there, and it's all because of you guys. Thank you so much.